Hey, what's going on? It's Joey Myers from the Hitting Performance Lab. In this video, we're going to talk about a reader question, bring up a reader question of what drills work to stop dipping the back shoulder. We're going to talk about three different things. First thing is springy fascia. Second is mechanical dominoes causing an uppercut. And number two, we're going to talk about how to fix or bring up a couple things that we can do to fix a barrel that's uppercutting. Let's start with springy fascia. Quick note, I will put a couple links in the original blog post in this article that references more in depth the springy fascia. But basically what it is it's a cotton candy or spider webby like material that your bones and muscles float in, and it's what gives muscles their shape. It is made up of mostly collagen, which is what the stars put in their face, and you can't tell if they're smiling or they're frowning. It is to the human body like steel is to the building industry. It resists change in shape. So how that plays out in a normal high-level swing, especially if we're looking at hitters such as Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, some of the nowadays guys, Josh Donaldson, Andrew McCutcheon, is if we were to track the right shoulder of a right-handed hitter, what we should see is at landing, we should see this slight downward shoulder angle between 8 and 10 degrees down. Front shoulder starts down, left shoulder starts down. As we go into our swing, that left shoulder will pop up. As we finish our swing, that left shoulder will go back down again. So we should see the front shoulder of a righty, left shoulder, start down, pop up, and then go back down again. This is the acceleration and decelerating properties of springy fascia. Now, if we look at some mechanical dominoes that cause an uppercut, some of them will knock each other down. So we might start with, say, a poor barrel launch angle. So at landing, we have a hitter that's got a flat bat, or even the barrel's gone down, so we've shifted the center mass of the bat behind the hitter instead of over the hitter, and what that tends to cause is an early arm bar in order to drag that barrel around. That's why we call it bat drag. And so we'll see usually those two kind of together. If we see a flat bat, usually we'll see an early arm bar. Also, that kind of comes along with that, but not always, is we'll see a racing back elbow. So the back elbow will race past the hands in order to try and take some slack out of the system. Some of the other things that we'll see is an early upward shoulder angle, early uphill shoulder angle. So instead of us landing down, we'll actually see hitters land up. And that's basically cheating to get to their impact position where this left shoulder should be up for a right-handed hitter. So we see an early upward angle of the shoulders before landing. The last thing we see that tends to cause this uppercut is we'll see an elbow that gets tucked at landing. So we'll see this elbow kind of tucked at landing, and what will happen is the only pitches that hitter is going to be able to hit are anything down. Okay, so we want to. The other side of the coin is we'll see this elbow too high. I tell my hitters, we talk about the Goldilocks golden rule, and you don't want to be too hot, too cold. You want what's just right. So this is being too hot, this is too cold. We want to kind of be just in the middle. That front elbow, or this front upper arm, is what sets the plane of the pitch, or where that barrel is going to go. Pitch is up, we're going to see that elbow kind of come up, but the shoulders are going to be more level, because the shoulders always parallel the barrel. So if the ball's down, barrel goes down, shoulders got to go down and follow the barrel. So we see these kind of parallel lines here. If it's up, we're going to see more level shoulders, and we're going to see parallel to the bat. So you see that steep front elbow. Now, how can we fix some of this stuff? Now, first things first, we can fix a steep angle with the shoulder just by making sure that we're landing with an elbow that's not so much, to me it's sticking out. I call it sticking out, but we don't want to stick it out like this where it's unnatural. We want to make sure it's sticking out in a natural position, but also not being tucked. So we can work on getting them to landing like that. The other thing that we can do is set the tee height to belly button and up, because if they're uppercutting, or if they have too steep of an angle, they're going to have a hard time getting to that upper pitch if we're working on the tee. You can also throw soft toss above the belly button. You can also throw live pitch above the belly button. And what we're looking for is not so much we're trying to train them to hit higher pitches, but we're just trying to train them to get to that pitch a little bit better, because they're going to feel really awkward uppercutting that higher pitch, and most likely they're going to miss it. So what we want them to do is possibly get on top. Now, getting on top is not a really good cue, but for somebody who's uppercutting, it is a good cue. And it's not. And once they start getting on top and start feeling a correct shoulder rotation, then you don't want to keep telling them to get on top, because what they're going to start doing then is they're going to start chopping down and hitting the ball on the ground. So we have to be careful with the cues we use, especially with something that's very generalized, is get on top or be short to the ball. Those cues are very general, and they work for making adjustments, but they do not work as a default cue when we're working with hitters. So setting the tee height is definitely a lot better. Higher tees when we got an uppercutter, because they're going to have a hard time uppercutting that pitch. They're going to have to find a better way to get to that ball. We also want to imagine, before I get to the rope bat, which is a hitting aid that I think is really good, I work with my hitters on especially these barrel path issues, but a good analogy that you can use with the hitters, tell them to imagine trying to skip this bat across the lake. Okay, so they're basically going to skip that bat, like if they're going to throw and skip a rock across the lake, but now we're holding on to the bat with both hands, and we want to make them feel like that they're skipping that rock. They're getting that barrel going sideways into the zone. Now this is why I bring up the rope bat, because the rope bat there's another one out there, can't remember what it's called, but the rope bat is mostly bendable. Okay, the other one out there kind of is very stiff up to this point, and then you have this little floppy area at the end. But the rope bat is all bendy, and what it really helps with is getting that plane, so we get our hitters just kind of swinging back and forth and really feeling like they're reaching back to the catcher's glove with the end of the bat, into the rope bat. And then what I want them to imagine is that they got a David and Goliath style slingshot, the one that David used, not the Y ones that you go like this and pull the string. It's the David and Goliath one where David had the rock at the end of the deal, and he would sling it like this and then go wham and throw it at him. So we want them to act like that now they're just holding it in both hands, and that they got the rock at the end, and that they're trying to skip the rock across the lake. So we see, as a coach, we can really see their angle, and then if they're really uppercutting, we can have them work on hitting a higher pitch and making sure that it's a nice smooth transition. They're still reaching back, trying to hit the catcher's glove, but now they're trying to skip the rock across the lake, and say we raise when we're swinging a higher pitches, that we raise the lake up at a level to now they can skip it across going this way. So in this video, we answered the question of what drills work to stop dipping the back shoulder. We went over what springy fascia is, how if we track a hitter's front shoulder, what it should be doing if we're properly accelerating and decelerating. We talked about some mechanical dominoes that cause uppercutting and some things to fix it. Make sure that we're swinging smarter by moving better.
The Hitting Performance Lab wants to know, did you know that reducing ground balls and swing and miss strikeouts has less to do with hand path and more to do with knee action? Have you ever heard, finish taller? To drive the ball, you have to uppercut. Well, we created a free video revealing the results of a scientific study that showed a reduction in ground balls of 27% and an increase in productive balls in the air of 24% over 200 swings without messing with hand path. Click here now to get the video while it's still free.